Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond. And this is my weekly update for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. Happy Halloween. All right, so I'm going to start with some announcement type things. The first, which is, I think, exciting. That's, of course, because I drive an electric vehicle. The electric vehicle charging station outside of the pool is being replaced today. One of the two stations on that particular unit there hasn't been working for some time, and that unit there has been here for probably 5 or 6 years. So we got, a good amount of years out of it. And we're hopeful that by the end of the day today, it will be up and running, but there's a good possibility that it won't be, because it seems like sometimes when this kind of thing gets done, it doesn't exactly work the way that the vendors hope that it does. So we're hoping that it will be all set and ready by the end of the day. I see them working diligently on it. So fingers crossed on that. If for some reason that does not happen, there are vehicle charging stations in the village right at the Tops Plaza. So if you are an electric vehicle user and you have to charge your car, and for some reason that doesn't work fully as intended today, you can go there and charge your car. But I'm very excited that that charging station is getting replaced. And you should have seen the updates on the new stations that are going in by the health center in the Chanticleer on Friday. The next thing is you should have seen an announcement in the mailroom and probably concierge and in your email at this point. The lawn treatment that we do periodically is scheduled for this Friday. There are a number of locations on campus where we do not do the lawn treatment. This is the weed and feed. We don't do it in the part that's immediately adjacent to the wetlands on the perimeter of the property. We don't do it in the lot that is behind, I think it's lot 5 and close to the cottages. That's partially so that dogs can use it there to go to the restroom that are in the, it's not a restroom, but so the dogs can go potty by that parking lot down there. But that is this Friday coming up. And I think I'm sure that's the last one for this year, but who knows? I could be wrong. Just keep your eyes posted on that. Let's see, another announcement type thing. You will see a sign up or two outside of the pool room. We are waiting for an inducer motor. The temperature has been off in that room, or off kilter in that room, for a few days now. We have determined with our vendor that this needs an inducer motor. And of course, like everything else, there is a lead time on it. So for several weeks, while we await that part, it's going to be cooler than many of you would like in the pool room. The water temperature will be held to its standard, but the pool room itself, the air temperature is going to be somewhere between 65 and 70 degrees. Oh my gosh, I'm doing my address. I'm getting startled by people at my window. I wish you guys could see this, but there are some spooky people. Look, I just got startled. It's a Halloween spook. And there they still are. So I know, not a professional broadcaster, but definitely a nice Halloween prank. So the pool room will be chilly. For those of you that don't like it, when it's a little bit cooler, you probably will want to avoid that for the next couple of weeks, but the water will be its normal temperature. And there isn't really much that we can do to improve the air temperature in there. So we did warn you, and we put the sign up there. Let's see, a couple of other things. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking for folks to come join us in the art studio at 1 o'clock. This is related to our sustainability, hopefully project program for some of the ideas for the holidays where we're not going to be, where we're hopefully going to be looking to spend less for the holidays. And I'm going to put this in the email that I sent out with the link for this. and I'll put a sign in the mailroom and maybe at the hostess station today. But we're looking for people that are interested in being project leaders or group leaders for this, idea leaders, and specifically related to craft or art projects for the next several weeks leading up to the holidays, to help us do some project ideas like maybe making multimedia picture frames, decorating picture frames, making jewelry with the beads and other jewelry making materials that we have on campus, using the fabric scraps that we have in the art studio to make herb or satchel the scent packets, or maybe making a kiln project. So we talked about making maybe potted little pots for plants. So if you are interested in being a leader, or you have another idea for a craft project where we can get 10 or 15 residents together, tomorrow is just a brainstorming session. So if you are inspired to help us, either paint pictures or any of the projects I just mentioned, or you have another idea of how you could be a craft leader for one of our workshops, tomorrow is that meeting in the art studio at 1 o'clock, and that's called the Make This Workshop. So please join us at 1 o'clock. It does say sign up at concierge, but you can just show up in the art studio at 1. Yesterday, I sent out an AED training video. That's the automatic defibrillator. We have those automatic defibrillators now at concierge, reception, and in the great room. And the training video went out yesterday. It's extremely straightforward. You cannot mess this up. The AED speaks to you and tells you exactly what to do in the event that someone is having a what is believed to be a cardiac event. One of the things that, of course, gets raised when this kind of an issue comes up and somebody is found to be unresponsive is the question of, does this person actually want to be resuscitated or not? And so my executive team and I are sort of working through what do we do in this situation. And I will tell you that there's going to be more to come on this. We have done some preliminary investigating on where independent living resident paperwork seems to be on the matters of emergency preparedness. You will probably remember, or you notice that in your newsletter, Mary Jo and Gretchen, are sort of pretty good about putting a reminder in just about every month that says, make sure your emergency packet is up to date. Or if you've had your annual visit with Sarah, or if you ever look outside Mary Jo's office, or you talk to Angel, or you go to your primary care physician for your annual visit, they're talking about things like your advanced directives, your emergency packet, your MOLST form, which is your medical orders for life-sustaining treatment. These are all things that help us be prepared in the event of an emergency. And unfortunately, we are finding that in many, many cases, those things are not up to date. They contain information that is no longer applicable. So for example, just within the last week, we have found during emergency situations that folks have healthcare proxies or power of attorneys that name a spouse and only a spouse that is no longer alive. There's no secondary power of attorney or healthcare proxy named. We have found that people do not have any advance directives identified, meaning that you haven't determined or put in writing what you want to have happen if you are having a medical emergency and you can't speak for yourself. We're finding that your medication lists in your emergency packet are out of date, among other things. Emergency contact information that you have in your emergency packet, the phone numbers are wrong and don't work. So there are just a number of concerns there. This is strictly for independent living that we're finding this. In the health center, there is a much more formalized process to make sure that those things are updated. Obviously, it's a regulated environment. So before we can do anything related to the automatic defibrillators and potentially like, putting a sticker on your badge or something in independent living, we have to make sure that we have a much better, or you have a much better grasp on, where all of that sort of formalized emergency paperwork, those directives are. So we are going to be going through sort of a process of asking you to audit your own stuff, stuff being a formal word, but really auditing those papers and giving you a checklist of what to do. And then we're going to be working through that with you on a voluntary basis. We can't force it in independent living, but making sure that those things are in order, because finding out during the event of an emergency that you don't have what you need in place is not the time to find that out. So we don't have to do this in independent living. It's certainly not any requirement on our part, but ethically and morally, we think it's important. So stay tuned on that. And then once that happens, we're most likely going to be coming up with some kind of a voluntary sticker or something for those that wish to have some kind of an indication on your badge or something of what you'd like to have happen in the event that you are found to be unresponsive in independent living, so that a good Samaritan that comes along does or does not put those AED stickers on your chest to use the AED. Because the last thing we want to have happen is that you have an advance directive that says, I do not want to be resuscitated, and your neighbor sticks those defibrillator stickers on your chest and brings you back. And we don't want to have that happen. So we've got to be really careful. Again, in the health center, it's all very prescribed. There are very specific regulations and procedures about what has to happen, but it's a lot different in independent living. So we've got to come up with what's going to work for us here in independent living. A couple of other things, just getting ready for Residents Council meeting on Thursday. I just want to mention a few things. Last week at Wednesday's Resident Association meeting, Christy Battistoni mentioned that we were awaiting New York State Department of Health and Department of Financial Services approval on our proposed rate changes for 2024, and those have been approved. So all of the 2024 rate changes for Woodland Pond that we submitted have been approved. So the rate letters that you received last week are approved. So 2024 rates are approved as presented to you, and you can, I guess, take those to the bank. And just a couple of other things. I guess a few questions have been raised related to the announcement that I made last week about welcoming Lindsay and congratulating her for the senior concierge position for the day shift, and then Lisa for senior concierge position for the afternoon and evening shift, Monday through Friday. And then, several of you have seen Marissa, sitting back at the desk during the day. Marissa's training Lindsay. So Marissa has taken the lead reception position. So that's why she's been sitting in reception. But of course, Lindsay's training. So Marissa's been back and forth. So of course, Marissa's still here with us, but Lindsay's got to be trained. So Marissa's here training. We don't ever like to say goodbye or anything to anyone. So Marissa's still around, but she's training Lindsay. But you'll always see people here, taking positions, covering shifts, covering lunch breaks. But I guess there were some questions buzzing around about, why is Marissa sitting in this desk? Why is Lindsay here? What's Lisa doing? What's Jeffrey doing? But yes, there's always lots of people in the mix. But yes, the announcement I made last week still stands. Lindsay is the senior concierge on days, and Lisa is senior concierge on the evenings and nights. And Marissa is the lead reception, I guess, lead concierge position, reception. And she does a lot for Jason behind the scenes. She helps him with all of his billing, lots of all of his transportation stuff. Marissa does a ton for Jason, and she's training Lindsay right now. So there's always a lot going on for those of you that have asked. And I think that's it for right now. If you have any questions or you need anything, I'm around the rest of the week. I will see you if you need anything, and I hope you have a great rest of your Halloween. Thank you so much.